morning, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Energy Medicine with Monica. If you're new, welcome. If you've stumbled upon my channel, welcome. Everything is in perfect timing. So if you found this YouTube video or if you've joined me live, thank you so much for being here. Your presence means everything. And we come together Friday to shift what is ever ready to be shifted globally. So I use body talk and all of the other energy medicine modalities I have on my tool belt to shift perspective, regain health, and heal at the root source of pain and discomfort. So if you find this channel, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. Really helps me to keep these things going and get the healing out to the world because everyone can use a small dose of TLC. So without further ado, here we go. So if you're finding this, you can even press pause if you're listening to this on YouTube. Get yourself nice and cozy, take a nice deep breath, and settle into your body. You can do this little thing that I call cut off your head so that if your thoughts are roaming and they start to take over, there's really no judgment. You just take a nice breath and you settle back into here, into your body. So we're going to be, for the topic for today was conflict resolution, um, and how your relationship with conflict really shapes how you see conflict. Okay, but that feels very heady. And I'm being brought to the gut. Being brought down into into the digestive system. So I'm seeing like an inflated head. So I see everybody globally and an inflated head. So we got to bring it back into the body. So the mind is not the same as the brain. Mind's going to have a lot of stories, a lot of thoughts, and they're going to be conflicting, even opposing. I should do this, I shouldn't do that. I should say this, I shouldn't say that. And that even within you and those opposing thoughts, just if they've got you, if you're not doing self-inquiry, if you're not doing this work, if you're not grounding, they really can get away with you. And next thing you know, it's like a balloon when you let the air out of a balloon and you're just going all over the place. So we want to anchor for this session. We want to ground into the body, into the wisdom that your body holds. So I'm moving down. So we're moving out of that inflated head down into the gut. Now, there's some few things that we need to dump from the microbiome of the gut. We need to dump from the liver. There's a big burp on the liver. That means energy is moving. We're also going to dump from the stomach, the pancreas, and the spleen. We're going to dump guilt and shame. So we're going to anchor it to individuation, which means very simply growing up from this habit of staying in guilt and shame, using guilt and shame to make your decisions, using guilt and shame to move you through life, using guilt and shame to beat yourself up. So we're dumping from here guilt and shame from the organs of the digestive system, namely the liver, the stomach, the spleen, and the pancreas. This is a really big dumping. We're going to bring in biogenics to move grief and sadness out of there. It's a very heavy energy if you use guilt and shame to keep yourself straight. Now, there is a certain modicum of guilt that is needed, and it's a healthy dose of guilt. It's just innate. We're born with a healthy dose of guilt. Like, you're going to feel guilty if you hurt somebody on purpose, if you do them harm. if you spitefully do something. This is, reasons why society usually works. If you go outside and you can go to the grocery store, you can take a walk, you can, I don't know, interact with friends and people. There's just a small amount of people that are really unwell. I think it's like about 1% of the population that are like clinical psychopaths and narcissistic psychopaths. But for the most part, you can go out and be out in public and you're not really worried that someone's going to hit you over the head with something. Because that there's that healthy modicum of guilt, right? And we have it from when we were little. Ooh, there's a release happening there. But with the guilt that I'm talking about, or and the shame that I'm speaking about, is beating yourself up for things you've done in the past, things you wish you've said, things you didn't say, things you've said. We all change. Are not the same person you were 5 years ago, or even when you first came on here. I mean, give yourself a break. Like, we're all human. That's not to say just run your mouth off or do anything that's going to hurt you or say things that are going to hurt other people. Here comes the dose of responsibility. Okay, well, I'm human. I've said these things. I'm fallible, but I can take responsibility for my actions. I can take responsibility for myself, the things that I've said, the things that I've done, and then I can course correct. So bringing in soul responsibility here through those organs where you start to take responsibility for yourself and your life and your words and the things that you've done, and then course correct one practical step at a time, not using those things that you've done in the past to beat yourself over the head with with an anvil. That's just inflicting abuse upon yourself. Okay, so we're starting to move guilt and shame out of the liver, the stomach, the pancreas, and the spleen, and are anchoring that to the heart to individuate and bringing in soul responsibility. It's a play on words almost. Your soul, which lives in the right atrium of the heart, responsibility to be fully responsible for yourself. There's no one to blame, not even God, not even yourself. There's no one to blame, not even yourself. Well, you can look back and go, yeah, but Monica, my parents, my upbringing, my cousins, my uncle, my family, life situations. There's no one to blame. There's no one to blame. The buck can be passed on and on and on and on, but when you come back to it, what is the one denominator? What is the one common denominator in your life with all of those people that you blame or all of those life situations? Well, it's you. So good news is that it's you. That means you do not need to wait for external circumstances to shift your relationship with yourself. You're the one who's running your own ship. You're the captain of your life. And what a relief. Could you imagine if you had to wait for someone to start helping you to change your life? You have the power within yourself to do that for yourself, one little step at a time. Okay, now I could breathe. So there's an empowerment that comes from taking responsibility for your life. When, on the opposite hand, when you go into apathy or resignation, oh, this is just the way it is, and this is the way it's always been, and there's nothing I can do about it, and there's just no choice. I'm just a victim of life, and life happens to me, then it's really time to start looking at your role that you play within your life. All right, so now there's some relief coming in through the diaphragm. There's a great empowerment that comes from looking at the wound that you've been ignoring for a long time, right? If you keep putting a band-aid on it, it just keeps festering under there. It may be painful to look at it at first, like when you get a really deep cut and you just keep putting the band-aid and you just keep coping and putting a new layer, a new band-aid, a new coping mechanism, something different to hide the pain so you don't feel it, so you don't look at it, so you don't address it. There's great relief that happens when you turn and you face yourself, and then you start to be honest with yourself. Oh, there's a breath coming in here. So this could be, there's a few identifications coming up through here, being the peacekeeper, I gotta keep everything nice and easy for everyone. There's the peacekeeper. It's coming up really strong. Martyrdom, the martyr, self-sacrificing. Um, and saying how much you do things for others and no one can survive without you. So that's very deep. It's very, very tricky, that one. The victim is coming up also. Whew, these are some pretty heavy duty identifications coming in here. I wasn't expecting that from today's work. I didn't think we'd go there. And these identifications that you think you are that, and then it pigeonholes you into one role. And there's not really much place to move from there. So you cannot be an identity. You cannot be the thing that you think you are. You cannot be the thing that you think you are. It's like, I am good, I am bad. You cannot be an action. You cannot. And good and bad are the same, different sides of the same coin. Oh, there we go. So we're going to start to dump these identifications out of the digestive system so that you can have a different relationship with your life, with what's going on around you, and even with your own conflict. Instead of thinking of your conflict or that whether the conflict's outside and you've put yourself in the middle of this conflict, or whether it be your own internal dialogue that's conflicted. By shifting the perspective of it, you get to have a different relationship with it, a different perspective of conflict. And then you can look at it as an opportunity that something's ready to be shifted, something's ready to be healed, something's ready to be seen and looked at. Because without conflict, everything's status quo and nothing would change. Nothing would shift. All right, so I'm going, oh, there's finally some breath coming in. The diaphragm has opened and relaxed. We've anchored to individuation, anchored to the heart, guilt and shame out of the liver, the stomach, the pancreas, and the spleen. We're also going to shift perceptions of self as a pathological consciousness through those organs, perceiving yourself as something. It's like, I am good, I am bad. I am a victim, I don't know. I'm a victim and I'm the perpetrator, let's say. I'm guilty, or I'm at fault. And we're shifting all of that with taking responsibility, with taking not the ownness, because I don't really like that, but being accountable to yourself and taking responsibility so that you can start making those small little changes in your life, one step at a time through taking responsibility. So not passing the buck on to, let's say, all the way down to everyone and everyone around you. And we got to bring in heart consciousness here. So I'm going up to the heart. It feels really heavy. So we've got some body armoring happening. So this is defensiveness that's taken over and is making itself present through excuses. So this could be excuses that you make for yourself or excuses that you make for others. We're just going to label it as excuses. It's sitting really heavy right over the pericardium. So we're going to run hydration, bringing in the fourth phase of water, which is easy water, that gelatinous water that's needed to move cells and communicate. It helps to communicate within the whole body mind, but it also uses that light. It is oh my gosh, I'm losing my words, is a movement of light through the whole body mind, that easy water. So we're bringing in that fourth phase of water to start to dump away from the pericardium excuses. And I'm just leaving it at that. We've got some active memories and some yeah buts coming in here where so the pericardium is the first thing that meets the world, and then you've got the inside layer of the pericardium that protects your heart. And we have some defensiveness over here, some hardening of the heart. So we need to bring in the consciousness, re-bring in the consciousness of gentleness, of compassion, of love to the inside of the pericardium. And we're going to dump active memories to those times that your heart got hurt. So that could be taking something to heart. Someone says something, they didn't have the intention to hurt, but it went through your filters and you took it to heart. So I'm going to tell you a little example of that, of something that happened to me so long ago. I remember it was when I was in grade 4 or grade 5. And I was coming home from elementary school and I was in the car and I was on my way home and I heard the newscasters saying that all figure skaters should be really thin. I think I must be about 10 or 9 at this time, and I'm listening. So I heard figure skating, and I loved to skate when I was little. I used to pretend I was a figure skater. But when I was little, everyone used to call me really chubby. They used to call me fat. So the kids used to call me fat, and then I had that same language being said to me by, by my household. I was getting that messaging that my body wasn't right the way it is and that I needed to lose weight. And so I'm listening to this newscaster and he's not talking about me, but I don't know that. I'm listening and I'm like, oh, he said figure skating. And I love figure skating. I love to dance on the ice on recess time. I'm only like 9 years old. And I took it to heart when he said that figure skaters need to be thin in order to be good skaters. Now, that's his belief system, but he's a newscaster and he's just saying this out to the world. And who knows who's listening? But I've got the filters on within my perception, on my senses, that my body's not okay the way it is. Like, I think I'm fat. I've been told I was fat and I believed it. And so I heard this guy on the news and I gave up. I was like, well, that's it. I'm just gonna stop figure skating and I just won't be a figure skater. Because I really thought that I was the thing that everyone said I was. So your filters actually become the space from which you live your life. And it's not that they've put blinders on you, it's actually what you think is real and what you see for yourself as reality. So now we have from this internal pericardium where it meets the heart, you've got huge amounts of sadness. It's sticking like tar. It's so sad. So and it could have that guy, the newscaster, he wasn't saying anything. It was completely neutral. He was just talking. But I took it to heart. I took it personally. I thought it was about me. I mean, how many times do we do this? Someone will say something and you take it to heart because you already have those thoughts about yourself. And then it's like putting on another layer of burden. I call them sweaters of burden. And what we're doing in this work is we take off one layer, we shed a layer of burden so that we can come back to our true selves. That isness that is us, not all of those layers that we wear upon ourselves And then we say, this is just the way life is. Whew. So are you draining that sadness from that and grief from that pericardium? One little story of a time of taking things personally. And we're going to run an active memory thread to those times that you really thought it was about you. Really thought that whatever someone was saying, even if it was neutral, like, oh, you shouldn't wear red lipstick, and you were wearing red lipstick, that meant that you're bad or you look a certain way because you already believed that about yourself. Oh, now there's stillness coming in. And I could feel the energy moving down through the heart. So we're draining that. We're going to link it to diaphragm, small intestine, so it doesn't get stuck anywhere. Going to bring in a hydration to help this move, hydration of water to help move those emotions from there. We're going to do a circulation of blood, chi, lymph to from and within the heart, nerves to from and within the heart. And we're bringing in a beautiful fascial release of within that pericardium that meets the heart. So the fascia feels like it's hardened and it's hard over the heart, acting as saying, I'm going to protect you at all costs. But it's not really protection, it's a defensiveness against something that you think is going to happen without knowing that it's going to happen. So it's creating this really hard defensiveness. So we're going to do a massage to the fascia. We're going to release stress. It feels like PTSD stuck in the fascial system of the heart. We're going to bring in the amygdala complex and the adrenal kidney complex to drain PTSD. There we go. From the bilateral amygdalas, from the fascia of the heart, and then from the adrenal kidney complex. So this could be trauma. Usually, when people say trauma, they usually think it's like something big. But trauma could be as simple as a little 2-year-old baby playing with blocks and the parents don't say the child's name or make eye contact with the child and say, okay, honey, 5 more minutes. Let's clean up the blocks now. It's time to transition to another thing. And that child's enthralled in the blocks. They're in their own world. And then they just get picked up away. Could be, that's enough to traumatize the system and it gets stuck. So we're draining that from the amygdalas, from the heart, from the adrenal kidney complex. There we go. And we got to bring in a, we're bringing in a satellite of support, a resource to keep rotating around the session to help facilitate the dumping of what's ready to be shifted. What's ready to be transmuted, what's ready to be alchemized and healed, what's ready to be have a new awareness or a different way of looking at life or having a different relationship with yourself. And we're going to bring in actually rose essence, the purest of rose essence. So rose oil, but I'm talking about the essential oil rose essence. And rose, it helps with movement of sadness and encourages compassion, empathy, gentleness, and love. So the first thing that those attributes need to be felt by yourself first. Compassion, love and empathy for yourself first, then it could be shared out into the world. If you have compassion for others and none for yourself, that it is incomplete. It all starts with you. There we go. Oh, that was the shift I was waiting for. All right, everyone can take a nice breath. I'm going to tap this session in. The reason we tap the head is we tell the brain, wake up, brain. This is the new formulas, the new links. This is the new healthy formula from which to operate. We tap on the heart brain. I used to be a teacher a long time ago. And teachers don't say remember it by brain, we say remember it by heart. And the reason why we do that is because the heart remembers. So the heart's waking up to remember these new healthy ways of being, of shifting consciousness that's ready to come into light. And then we tap over the gut. We wake up the enteric brain, the intuition, and this helps rest and digest all of this information. Thank you so much for being here, and I welcome you back all next week. Thank you for your presence.